Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm AndyRC and today I'm going to be taking a look at the iFlight Alpha A85. 'Tis the season to be whooping, and the A85 is the smallest quad that iFlight make to date that can carry a Cadex Vista. It's worth mentioning though, to get the weight down they are using the Cadex Nebula micro camera, which saves around 5 grams and makes the form factor nicer, but personally I think they should have gone with the stock DJI camera. By the way, there are some people out there professing that this model is one of the best money can buy, and honestly, I don't know how they have such a following, because my assessment is that it's just okay. It's better for racing outdoors or at big indoor spaces, but completely useless for freestyle, which I'll talk about later. I've also had this guy for a while now, and I know the naked Vista craze is becoming a thing as well. But anyways, let's get into it. This is an 85mm 4S Whoop. It's available with both Analogue and DJI setups. This one's dry weight is 89 grams and 144 grams with the recommended 450mAh 4S LiPo. The frame is made of a molded plastic and comes with an anti-slip mat and the correct size battery strap for the recommended battery. The motors are these beautiful Zing E 1204 4500 kV with durable HQ props, and you're given a spare set of those in the box as well. I think iFlight now ships this one with slightly bigger motors, but Banggood still has them listed as a 1204 stator. And this is a small gripe I have with iFlight. They are constantly changing and updating their models, so sometimes it can be a bit of a lottery what you end up with unless you buy directly from iFlight. The flight controller and ESC board is iFlight's Success D all-in-one with 20A ESCs and an F4 flight controller. They give you a 90-degree USB adapter in the package, but it's not needed because you can access it from the underneath. It came flash with Betaflight version 4.1.2, and the setup was fairly decent. You just need to remember the props out configuration if you ever need to replace one of them. And they only had angle mode set up in the modes tab, so acro needed adding as well as a lost model alarm. The on-screen display was set up for analog as well, so I disabled it for this version, but they have their own custom PIDs and rates. JESC is also set up out of the box as well. The Vista did come pre-activated, although it needed the latest DJI update, so I installed that. And the antenna is very nicely placed at the back and secured down nicely. This is the DJI bind and fly version, so there's no need for a receiver because it'll bind directly to a DJI transmitter, but it's available with a range of different receivers. The camera goes from pretty much flat to a crazy angle, so it can be adjusted for indoors or outdoors. Okay, let's go for a line of sight flight with this guy. Starting off in acro mode here. This is a 450mAh 4S. Let's see how much power it's got. So it's not exactly jumping out of the air. It's hovering on about a quarter throttle. Quite windy here today, so it is being blown around. And I can't imagine that it's got enough power to stop your washout. Very bizarre as well, when the wing gets underneath those protectors. I can go to 0 throttle and it sort of almost like gets a thermal like it's got a wing. You have to be very careful because it's difficult to get it back down. I think that is just the wind today getting underneath those protectors, but make sure you don't get too high up. Yeah, it's really getting pushed back by the wind. I think really this one is more of an indoor racer than anything else. I don't think it's going to be that great for freestyle. It's okay line of sight, but I'm not really moving very quickly line of sight. That wind is really blowing the thing. It's got lots of power though. Maybe too much power for indoors, and then not enough for outside. I think it'd be better on a calmer day for sure. But on the plus side, I'm not hearing any oscillations or anything like that, any vibration issues. But I am basically just flying it against the wind today. And it's just about coping. That battery looks way too big hanging underneath. It doesn't bother me, but I know that bothers some people. But it flies okay line of sight at least. So one more time for the power and how it sounds. Oh, look at that. It is not coming down, that's zero throttle. Look at that, oh, it's going up. That is bizarre. Look. Oh, be careful of that. I wonder if I can get that to do it again. Oh, it sounds like the battery's going. Oh, it's coming down this time. Yeah, it must get under a pocket of wind or something. Very bizarre. Okay, let's take a look at some flight footage, and right away you can see the lower quality of the Nebula camera compared to the DJI stock camera. This does have the latest update on it, which improves the dynamic range a lot, but it still suffers from unnatural colours and a sort of haze when it comes to particular lighting situations. Of course, it's stuck in a 16:9 aspect ratio and has a higher latency, but that doesn't really bother me so much. I got to fly it on a sunny day as well to test for Jello, and it seemed to do okay with that. The two problems when flying this model outside are the floating effect that it gets on idle. Now, I've seen this before with Whoop style models where the prop protectors act as a source of lift, and it's quite strange going to zero throttle and sometimes gaining height. It always comes down eventually, of course, but for flying freestyle it was really sketchy with lots of yaw washout and unpredictable maneuvers. And tuning wise, there's not a lot you can do about that either. As I say, these guys are better for racing in tight spaces, but the moment you start doing flips and rolls, the power to weight versus the drag of the protectors is going to cause a problem. I think the 85mm size is just on the cusp for flying it indoors, especially with the size of my house. Anyways, if you've got a bigger house then it might be better, but you aren't going to be able to get into the tight spaces like you can with a 65mm model, and you'll want to go 3S indoors as well, otherwise you'll be hitting the ceilings before you know it on 4S. The flight time was pretty decent at around 5 minutes, and there you go, that is my review of the iFlight Alpha A85 HD edition. I'll put a link in the video description as well as a pinned comment if you wish to get one, and as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.
Throw it all away. Fight so hard, my heart is hardly helpless. Find myself so desperate.